Hello and welcome to your Soul Service Astrology update for the week commencing the 4th of October 2021. Welcome, I'm Kelgunter. I'm a 13-sign Sidereal Astrologer and I'm also the creator of Soul Service Astrology. What is Soul Service Astrology? Soul Service Astrology is a technique where you learn how to understand yourself more deeply, of course, using astrology. You take personal responsibility for your challenges and or weaknesses, and you start to lean more naturally into your gifts and your strengths. You start to become more deeply aware and attuned to your imagination and your intuition, and you start to tap into a higher potential. You start to tap into your joy and your creativity so that you can bring that service to life and live the life that you desire. What is 13-sign Sidereal Astrology? 13-sign Sidereal Astrology is accurate astrology. It is astrology that is matched to astronomy. Now, astronomy and astrology are different. Astronomy is the study of the planets and the stars, and there's lots of measurements and philosophies, but also hypotheses that they test and they attempt to go out and answer the question to. Astrology is using the placement of the planets to divine and pull meaning for us in this world. Humans have been doing this for millions of years. It is not causal, it is acausal. We are reflective of the universe and the universe is reflective of us. It's the macrocosm and the microcosm and the macrocosm, as above, so below, as within, so without. So that is 13-sign Sidereal Astrology. It is not the same as tropical astrology. Tropical astrology defines the northern hemisphere seasons by constellations. It bears no resemblance to what you can see in the sky other than the angles that the planets make with each other. But the constellations are all different to what 13-sign Sidereal Astrology will tell you. All right, let's check out what's going on this week. There we go, there's the chart. I'll just move my things around so that you can see it a little bit better. All right, 4th of October is very similar to the 3rd of October. The main aspect playing out still is this Jupiter trine down to Mercury. So really we're still in very much a retrograde period, or the outer planets are retrograde. We've got Mercury retrograde. So I would really encourage you, we've had 1 week of the Mercury retrograde. If you haven't yet, have a rest, have a review, start to write down, scribble down your dreams, your desires, start to scribble down what are your strengths, what are you really good at, what do you want to be really good at, what do you want to be an expert in, what are your beliefs, what are your philosophies, what are your skills, what do you love to do, what do you want to learn, where would you love to serve, all those things. This is not time for action. This is just time for getting stuff out and having a rest, okay? So we'll move to Tuesday, straight up, the 5th of October, and look at the conjunction between Sun and Mars down here. Sun is the creator, Mars is the warrior. Expressing in Virgo, there is this union of getting stuff done to create and express and really drive that out so that we feel in service to ourselves and we feel in service to our community or the greater whole. Because Virgo wants to serve. Virgo wants to serve. Now, what can happen with this placement is that you might be trying to do too much and you'll start to feel exhausted. And what I would suggest is that you can do small tasks that fill you up, because the sun represents our heart as well. So do some small creative tasks that are in line with where you want your focus and your action to be, but they're not necessarily going to take up all your time, because like I said, I would really encourage you to be having a bit more of a rest and a review over the Mercury retrograde, doing some practices to start to calm the mind down and step more into an aware place and start to clear the clutter out. That's really what the energy is at the moment. So what I've written here is only do what brings you the most joy and must be done, which is essentially what I just said. So that's Tuesday, the 5th of October. Let's move to Wednesday, the 6th of October, and we have a new moon. So we have the moon and the sun will meet in conjunction. So we have a new moon in Virgo. The new moon is really that quality of the innocent. And in Virgo, it's fresh eyes towards our health, fresh eyes towards our service. So if we've been playing along with the Mercury retrograde last week, and if you are watching the video this week, go back and have a listen to last week's video, because we're still in Mercury retrograde and we still have these planets up here retrograde, except I will talk to you about Pluto going direct. So with this new moon, it's a wonderful time. On the new moon, it's a great time to set new intentions for the next 29 days. But I would recommend that this might actually be a bigger intention up until the next Mercury retrograde. So that's going to be about 3 to 4 months before the next Mercury retrograde comes in. What is the freshness that you want to bring to your health and your service? Now, if you've been doing the Mercury retrograde and reviewing and checking in on your skills and your service and clearing out the shit, what can go? Am I consuming content that makes me feel rubbish? Is that going to really get me towards the top of my mountain? Is it going to really get me towards my dreams and my goals? If it's not, it's got to go. So set the intention now as to what's going to give you the most for your health, because health is wealth, and therefore what also can you bring with fresh eyes in relation to it's the health for you, but the health for your business. So we're bringing our fresh eyes to that, and we're starting to get our feelings and emotions on board, because once we get our feelings on board with a new intention, it will start to set things in motion that will help you create that thing. Of course, you've still got to take some action and do some things in the earthly plane. It's not just all energy, right? And that's very much the earth energy that we can see in the chart. We still need to be doing things, not just sitting back and leaning back. There still needs to be some things happening, while being aware that we can step into new feeling states and set new intentions and start to program how we can look after ourselves better, how we can look after the earth better, and how we can look after our businesses better. And it's going to benefit everybody. So that's the new moon on Wednesday. Now, what you might notice is it's also conjunct Mars. So I've written here, the innocent meets service, and it wants to set action in motion. So what you can do with this new intention that you've set in relation to, looking after yourself better, looking after the earth better, looking after your service better by clearing the clutter and not doing things that, aren't going to get you anywhere. You can say to Mars, all right, I'm going to write a list. Virgo loves lists. Write the list. These are the things and the action I'm going to take. There might be some little steps that you can start to take already, and then Mercury starts to go to direct, then you can really start to implement them. And while Mercury is retrograde over the next week and a half, you can start stepping into that feeling state like you've achieved and you've completed that list, and be excited for the new things you're going to create and this fresh sense of wellness that you're bringing to yourself, and the fresh sense of wellness that you're bringing to your service. And the earth too. You notice how I just mentioned the little snippets of earth in there as well. So let's take a look at the 7th. Now, I mentioned on the 6th, that's when Pluto goes direct. So the 6th, 7th, you can see, because Pluto moves quite slowly. So yes, we have one of the first outer planets and the most outer, it's a dwarf planet, start to go direct. So what that means is we're now starting to, yes, there's still a lot of retrograde energy happening, but we're now starting to shift, because we can now start to move forward. We've done some clearing out of beliefs. Perhaps we've done some clearing out and there's been some ego death in there. Perhaps we've killed some philosophies that we liked listening to. And now is the time to start to, where the placement of the other planets is, start to consolidate down and go, you know what, these are my core beliefs, this is my core faith, and really this is all I need this lifetime. Yes, there can be a lot of noise out there, it can be sexy to go down different pathways and explore, but we need to be true to ourselves. So you just start to feel that there might be wheels moving forward now. Pluto has gone to the underworld, and now there's a renewal happening, a regrowth. Maybe some new leaves have shoot after the new moon. So it's perfect timing. And in the southern hemisphere, we're into spring. So this is a really great time. We've done some review. We've done a bit of navel gazing. We've been aware. Okay, so now things are starting to move forward again, and we can start to get some things done. Let's have a look. So there's not too much happening on the Friday the 8th, which is really good because there's a lot happening this week. On Saturday the 9th of October, Venus moves into Scorpio. Now, as you can see, Scorpio in 13 sign Sidereal Astrology is a really, really small sign. It only lasts, it's less than 10 degrees in the sky where the ecliptic transits through Scorpio. All right, so we have the Regenerator as Venus moving into the Shadow Hunter in Scorpio. So I set up here that the Destroyer has stopped going backwards and has moved out of the underworld. But now Venus is like, well, you know, we're still Mercury retrograde. We've still got all this retrograde. It might be well timed to go in and sit with some of our shadows. So I mentioned that last week there was quite a few fears that came up, and one of the fears that might have come up for you, and it's pretty common in most people, I would say, and perhaps you feel connected to it when I say it, perhaps you don't, and that's fine, is that I'm not enough. And with this Venus moving into Scorpio, it means it's a really good time for you to go and do some shadow hunting. And what I mean by that is to do some practices, embodiment and integration practices, that can clear this pattern out, because we don't want to be constantly telling ourselves that we're not enough, because then that will hold us back. We won't be able to do the things that we want to do, and we'll feel shitty. We'll feel shitty in our body, and we'll feel shitty in our life. So it's time to compost, perhaps, some of our desires. Perhaps we need to compost some of our feeling states. And how do we go and look at our shadows? There is a number of techniques, and I'm not going to explain them on this video. However, you can look into a technique called going to your subconscious basement. And as long as you aren't suffering from a mental health illness, go and check that out. And that's one way that you can go and sit with your shadow and listen to anything that needs to come up into the light so that you can reintegrate it into yourself. So fear is the messenger here, and regenerating ourselves. That's the 9th. Let's check out the 10th on the Sunday. I think we can see the main aspect here. No, we can't, because I'm not pointing at it. The main aspect here is the Sun, Mars, and Mercury, all conjunct in Virgo. So this is mega earth energy, right? So we've got the mind, we've got our action, and we've got our expression and our creation all sort of sitting together, really wanting to serve ourselves and then serve the world. But, you know, the mind is still sort of, I don't really know what, I need to have a bit of a break. I just feel a bit exhausted. So again, if we're playing along with Mercury retrograde, this is where we get to write our lists, and you get to take some small actions. Create some things that make you feel good, but you don't have to action and do them all. Otherwise, you're going to fatigue the mind. Check in with the mind. Do some meditation practices. Again, cultivating that sense of awareness. The other thing that is happening today, before I move on, a great thing that you could do on the 10th of October is to just write out your story. One, you're writing, that's Mercury, which is and it's also reflection, so it's a going over. You're writing your story. Writing is a creative outlet, and Mars, it's a focus, it's to do something. So you could write out your story. And I've said here, map it out, art it out. How does it benefit you, and how can it benefit others? And merely that's a self-reflection practice that you can do as part of Mercury retrograde. The other aspect that is in play is we have Venus conjunct the moon and it's opposite the North Node. So the North Node is our mission. It's where we're going this lifetime. It's in opposition to the regenerator, the connector with our feelings and our emotions in Scorpio, the shadow hunter. So there might be feelings of, oh, this is too hard. Oh, I just want to sit in a place that feels comfortable. Why do I have to look at these things that have come up for me? Why has these things come up for me? Oh, I just feel, you're feeling because it's the moon and Venus. Now, this is an aspect that will only last one day, all right? So, and the Venus transiting through Scorpio is not going to last very long either, only about a week. And it's opposite our North Node, collective North Node, calling us towards, okay, you might need to feel a little bit uncomfortable if you really want to step into your desires this lifetime. And when I say uncomfortable, it could be a minor uncomfortableness, or it might feel really uncomfortable. Every single time I've lent into places where I haven't felt particularly comfortable and I've just kept taking small steps. So I think this week and last week I've said a similar thing. There's these small steps, not big rushing in grand gestures. They're these small steps, tending to ourselves, small steps, leaning into places that, oh, do I really want to let that go? Can I let that go? It's going to make me feel uncomfortable clearing that out. Oh, I'm looking at that feeling. Ooh, where did that come from? Or that thought or that fear, where did that come from? And it's just this review and this reflection that if we continue to do this, we are leaning into those uncomfortable places. We are heading towards our mission to build that beautiful life that we desire. With this Taurus and Venus, it's building this beautiful life we desire, but we might need to stamp out some of the shadow to help that happen. When I refer to shadow, I'm talking about ego. So do go and check out subconscious basement clearing. I'm sure there are practices on YouTube that you can do that with. So that is Sunday. And that rounds out this week. So have a glorious week. If you would like to follow me some more, I am on the Facebook and I am on the Instagram. You can find all the links. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find all the links at kellygunter.com. I also have a Facebook group, a free Facebook group called Sidereal Stars. If you want to hang out with me there, I go live at least twice a month on the new and the full moon. Probably be going live there with some masterclasses over the next couple of months as well. Also, I have a profile on Insight Timer, which has at the moment 2 beautiful guided meditations using the planets, the Earth and the planets, which are techniques that you can use to amplify your self-awareness, start to step more into your imagination and start to step more into your intuition and connect with the planet and connect with the planets, so that we can start to imagine our new Earth. That might be my subtext to all this planetary connection, is so that we can connect to our Earth and we can start to vision a new planet and a new culture and society. And what can we create? Because everything that you see was once an idea. And I'll leave it at that this week. Have a glorious week and I will talk to you next week. Bye.